Small, consistent, and rewarded steps create a behavioral path in your brain, a mental script that can set you up for success. You can see the results, and you can see the results consistently.
Did you know that around 40% of our daily behaviors are habits?
We are lazy by nature. Every change of our behavior costs us a lot of energy, so our brain screams, "Stop, don't do it."
We are wired, but it doesn't mean that we cannot be conscious architects of our own behavior. We can shape our behavior and create a better version of ourselves. Even though it takes about 66 days to form a habit, it doesn't mean that it needs to be a complex process. And today, you will learn how to do it sensibly, so that you can succeed in the long term.
From the moment you wake up in the morning and you go to bed, you operate on habits. You have your own bathroom rituals, then you drink coffee from your favorite mug. You have your special music for driving and special music for jogging. You have your own words and gestures to greet your friends or colleagues. Think about your own habits. I'm sure you can add to this list a lot.
Habit is a truly fantastic tool. We use it to deal with everyday situations without the need of learning everything from the scratch, time and time again. We all have our mental scripts and we use them almost effortlessly and without even realizing them. They can save our energy for different and more difficult processes like conscious thinking, analyzing data, learning. So as you can see, we use our habits to be more organized and to better manage our day.
Habit is a very smart way of our brain to manage complexities of the day. Habits help us to transform complex problems into a simpler task. They are a very specific type of behavior. They are a long-term behavior. In contrast to one-off behaviors, things such as running a presentation or bungee jumping or meeting your friend for a coffee, or so-called spam behaviors that last within a certain time. Things like running a project or a 30-day challenge. In order to create a habit, we need a very specific approach. We need a specific formula. But let's start with behavioral basics and better understand what elements we need in the environment, what specific conditions we need in the environment for any type of behavior to be formed. And there are three such ingredients, three such elements that need to be present at the same time, and they need to correlate with each other.
First element is a trigger, a kind of a stimuli or a signal, which can be internal or external, which gives you a sign that you can act. It could be a reminder tone in your smartphone. It can be an invitation to the team meeting from your colleagues. It can be a smell or even a person. The most important thing is that it must be a clear sign for your mind. Go!
Number two is motivation. You need to find the answer, what is important to you, what may drive you to make changes in your behavior. This may be your set of beliefs, this may be something which is very important for you, and no matter if motivation is external or internal, it must push you to change your behavior. Number three is your ability to perform a task. This is the set of your resources, your skills, your knowledge, your experiences, even the action plan, all the resources you have to smoothly change your behavior.
Now, out of the three elements, there is one absolutely critical for habit formation, and that is the ability to perform the task. The simpler the behavior, the greater the chances that you will repeat it on a regular basis, even if your motivation drops down, and it will drop down because that's the nature of motivation.
Now let's talk about DEI habits. Let's assume that your goal is to build an inclusive culture. How to break it into smaller behaviors which can become your habits? You can do it in a couple of simple steps. First of all, choose concrete behavior which you would like to implement. For example, running inclusive meetings. Second thing is to break this behavior into smaller actions, which will be easy to implement. For example, starting your meeting every time from someone else, or making a flash round. So after a longer discussion, asking everybody for their opinion.
Following this example, try to identify the trigger that may activate your habit. It may be, for example, the beginning of the meeting, the closure of the meeting, or maybe a situation when one of your colleagues is quite bored and start looking at his phone. This may be that moment. Another thing is your motivation. You need to ensure that you have a basic level of motivation to continue a habit, to start repeating your behaviors. It doesn't need to be very high, but you must find a basic level of your motivation. And the last thing, which we haven't mentioned before, but is very, very important to make your behavior a habit, is a reward. You may reward yourself, but also you may find a reward in your external environment. It may be a clap on the shoulder, it may be a smile from your colleagues, or maybe you may smile to yourself. It may also be a common going out for a coffee.
A quick recap on the habit formula. The habit formula is in fact trigger, a simplified behavior, and a reward. And that's how you create a habit loop. Listen, the long-term behavior change is not an easy process, but we can hack it through the power of habits. Small, consistent, and rewarded steps create a behavioral path in your brain, a mental script that can set you up for success. You can see the results, and you can see results consistently. There are multiple areas where you can create habits within the DEI context, if this is your goal. For example, communication, collaboration, knowledge exchange, celebration, or even managing your relationships. So there are plenty of options. So, what kind of DEI habit you want to build today?